Hey everybody, how's it going? Josh here, and today we're going to talk about how within the MCU's upcoming Black Widow movie, how basically Taskmaster is able to replicate every tech hero shown in Captain America Civil War. And that's a really important thing I think to mention, because when you look at his abilities, and what I mean by tech is not just someone like Iron Man or War Machine, but also characters like Captain America, Black Panther, Hawkeye, people that use equipment alongside of maybe their own natural abilities to give them their own signature styles and signature movements. Because really Taskmaster replicates almost everyone in Civil War for the most part, Avengers wise, hero wise, which definitely is really cool, especially since this movie takes place chronologically in the MCU after the events of Civil War, in between Civil War and Infinity War. So definitely Taskmaster is going to be a really cool character to see on the big screen. And we're going to get into all these characters, so I'm going to get to like Iron Man last and explain how Taskmaster takes off of Iron Man. And I've done a video somewhat based on this before, but now that we've seen more of Taskmaster with the final trailer, I just thought it'd be worth revisiting for the most part. But going into Captain America, first and foremost, we see Taskmaster do certain movements like the shield block, the shield toss, for that matter, and also doing the stomp the shield, and it goes to your kind of gauntlet kind of moveset. And all in all, what this really shows you is basically that Taskmaster has some sort of replica vibranium shield that allows him to essentially copy Captain America. And that's a really special thing to point out, because between the Black Panther tech and the Captain America tech that Taskmaster uses, it establishes that he's either well connected with a government organization relating to the events of Civil War that would have been able to maybe repurpose some of the superheroes' tech due to the Sokovian Accords. Either that, or he's just really well funded for the most part, and he can afford to recreate a lot of these materials, because they even made a point in Civil War and of course in the first Avenger to mention how Captain America's shield is a bit unique for the most part, and it's not really easy to replicate. So to copy the physics defying properties of that shield definitely took some proper resources and allies on Taskmaster's end. But you can see him use it, and he seems pretty adept with it, using it both defensively and offensively. So that'll be kind of cool to see. I don't really expect him to do a lot of Captain America's combat movements. That will probably be more reserved for Black Widow. Just like how in the trailer we saw during the kind of scorpion getup, if you want to call it that Black Widow did, Taskmaster did it also. And then also in the trailer we saw him utilizing his technology that Taskmaster has, which I'll get more into later because it relates to Iron Man. But we saw him basically scanning, watching, memorizing, whatever term you want to use, Black Widow's combat from Iron Man 2, which is actually really nice. I'm happy that they're going back to previous, portrayals of the character throughout the MCU, and hopefully little bits and pieces here and there come back. So I think it'd be really funny to see Taskmaster use that grappling move that Black Widow used 1,000 times in Iron Man 2 to knock people down. That'd be kind of funny. But also, with Black Panther, since we already talked about him a few times, the clearest thing is when he does the Wakanda Forever pose and the claws come out. And this looks exactly like Black Panther's claws for Civil War, not like a cheap knockoff. So I do wonder if maybe Black Panther's claws somehow were maybe stolen during the events of Civil War, never really mentioned, and a lot Taskmaster ends up with them. Because if you look at the claws, they're not even Taskmaster's color scheme for the most part. Like, they look like they could have easily been taken somehow from T'Challa. Basically, a lot of people are debating whether the kind of chest kick to the 3-point position that Taskmaster goes into when he's fighting Red Guardian, if that's Spider-Man. And Spider-Man is replicated by Taskmaster in Black Widow, but I think the chest kick on Red Guardian technically is a part of Black Panther, because Black Panther gets in those acrobatic 3-point poses just like Spider-Man does. They all have enhanced agility and acrobatic kind of movement types for the most part. But definitely it'll be really cool to see the hand-to-hand combat Taskmaster uses, because up until this point, really the only footage you would think that would be available for Black Panther would be the events of Civil War. So it'd be cool to see what Taskmaster is able to do. Now, also there is a scene where Taskmaster is shown kind of swinging through the air on the bridge moment. He appears to be swinging on one of those steel girdles, and that's actually really important to notice because it looks like, because he's swinging the way he is replicating Spider-Man's movements in the scene. And that is really interesting to me because we don't see him using any other Spider-Man tech, which may or may not just show the limitations of the tech that Taskmaster can more or less copy. And going on with the bow and arrow aspect with Hawkeye, that was one of the first superhero replications that we saw from the MCU Taskmaster, which made a lot of people actually think Hawkeye might have been Taskmaster during the whole Budapest adventures, and that's been debunked at this point, especially because if you look at how Taskmaster uses the bow and arrow, he doesn't even hold it exactly the same way as Hawkeye, which is kind of odd. You would think they would intentionally want to make it the same way. But one thing I really noticed is something unique to Hawkeye in the MCU, more so than his bow and archery skills, are his arrows. And Taskmaster as well in the MCU from the Black Widow trailer appears to have replications of Hawkeye's arrow tech, which to me was a very clear sign that yes, he is definitely connected to someone in the government, most likely Secretary Ross. We already mentioned before he was able to kind of scan Black Widow's movements, seemingly able to just watch and analyze them, the movements she had, the combat from Iron Man 2. And I pitched this idea way when it was just clearly a theory, kind of taken out of left field here on my end. It looks like there's more credit to the fact that the Iron Man aspect of Taskmaster will be the artificial intelligence used in Captain America Civil War when Iron Man was fighting Captain America, because Captain America's movements were so fast, Iron Man couldn't keep up with it on his own. And I think we're going to see a similar thing here with Taskmaster, and that again goes into the fact that he's probably connected with someone like Secretary Ross, who due to the Sokovian Accords probably has maybe not all of the Iron Man tech and all of the superhero tech to a certain extent, but he probably has a derivative of each superhero's pieces of tech, just due to the Accords and what the Accords entail. And I wouldn't be surprised if maybe for Taskmaster, out of all the things of Iron Man, whether it's the repulsors, whether it, the arc reactor, I wouldn't be surprised if he instead takes the AI technology that allows him to, with his visor and mask, scan and analyze, and then through the other kind of exoskeletal parts of his suit, replicate movements of superheroes. Because obviously he himself is not superhuman, at least as far as we know within the MCU, so it would explain why he has somewhat of an exoskeletal suit design, because it probably is a power suit similar to a very basic version of the Iron Man armor that allows him to do things like on the fly, connected to the AI, replicate either Captain America, Black Widow, Black Panther's movements, whoever it may be. Now, I'll be interested to see who else he might replicate, whether it's Winter Soldier, since he played a predominant role in Civil War, or maybe something from War Machine, like the hammer tech thing he used. It'll be really cool to see what he does. I don't expect him to do anything with Vision technology or Scarlet Witch for that matter, just because they're not really techie heroes. Leave your comments down below. What would you like to see him replicate that hasn't been shown in the trailer yet? Because I'm sure they're going to pull a really cool thing out of nowhere. But leave your comments down below. What do you guys think? We'll see you guys later.